by the way. I hope I say it correctly.
It's
Hey,
Alaba.
that's how I say it. So hey ladies, welcome. I am Violet Dayala. I'm the founder of Fem City, and you're joining us today for our Monday coaching and mentoring. And today I have asked Melisa Alaba. Love saying her last name. I don't know. I think it's kind of close to mine. It's Alaba. Mine is Ayala. So I think that's probably why I like it so much. And today we're going to talk about healing from our money traumas. So if you are joining us live, we're super excited. Please feel free to add comments or ask questions. You can even add some love. We do like that as well. And if you're watching this on the replay, I know many of you like to watch the replay and binge on our Fem City content during the weekends. You can always reach out to either one of us. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you thrive, and we're here for you. So, Melisa, share a little bit about your background for those Fem City members that don't know who you are.
Absolutely. So my name is Melisa Alaba. I am a life coach. I am also a therapist. And I've been doing this work for over 20 years, helping people have amazing lives, like breaking through past traumas so that they can get to the life that they really desire to have.
Love that. Love that. I'd like to have you on another time to ask like how you got into that, because I find it so fascinating why some women go into those fields. I just think it's just such a difficult field to be in. And generally every woman that I know, even every therapist that we have in the Fem City Global program has energy as yours. They're light. They're, just they make you feel so good. So that's a whole other conversation for another. I'm dying to know, like, how do you, like,
Yeah.
all like just, and you're just, I don't know, such givers. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about healing your money trauma. So when we talk about healing our money trauma, I'm thinking to myself, healing from a money trauma is very similar to what I think I went through after 9/11. My husband and I had a lot of investment properties. We lost money on all of them. Everything tanked. It was like $250,000 just gone. We were not born with a gold spoon in our mouth. So that was a lot of, it still is a lot of money. It took us some time to get back. I would say we just healed from it about 4 or 5 years ago. It took a really long time. I couldn't even watch HD TV at all because it was so painful. Houses. So we just lost so much of our money that we had earned from renovating houses. So for us, we definitely had trauma with that. And I think that the trauma happens a lot of times when we either make a really bad decision with finances, we get into a lot of debt, we make wrong decisions, perhaps with schooling or investments, or maybe we give money to someone, they don't pay us back. I can come up with a whole bunch of scenarios when it comes to money trauma. How do you know if you have to heal a money trauma? For those that are starting to watch now, like,
Absolutely.
What are the ways that they know, oh, that's me, I got a money trauma?
Well, first of all, I'm so glad that you shared that story, right? Because so many times when we go through things like that, we are embarrassed. We are still angry with ourselves. We're frustrated. We have imposter syndrome. Like, here I am, I'm showing up so big for all these other people. How dare that happen to me? Like, I can't share that story because it would look like I lost. And so what I want to do is I want to share my own story and how I came to do this work, because I think this is the thing that a lot of times women don't do. It's like we don't share the downside. We only share the successes, the big checks, the numbers in the bank, and all that kind of stuff. But when I went through a divorce, so in 2014, actually at the end of 2013, I found out I had cancer, thyroid cancer. 2014, I knew for sure I had to end the marriage that I was in so that I could get healed, right? And so here I am, I'm leaving a marriage where we had significant property. We had a lot of different things. I am going through cancer at the same time. And I'm having a lot of issues with my own persona of what I thought wealth and success was. I'm losing stuff left and right. I'm fighting in court almost every week over this divorce. My ex is asking for everything. And I'm trying to heal myself at the same time. And so one of the things that I realized in the process of this was, as a woman, what winds up happening is we constrict when we have losses. We constrict instead of expanding, meaning that I start thinking differently. Like, I started thinking about all the things I could have done to protect myself in this situation. Why didn't I put money on the side? Why did I allow everything to be in his name? All of these different things, and we blame ourselves. So coming out of that and getting to a stage of healing, because I had to use money that I had put aside. So thank God for that. I had some life insurance policies that I had cash value in that I had put aside, for my 20s. So thank God I was able to take that money and literally use that during my cancer treatment, which lasted for about 3 years. So for about 3 years, I had cancer and I had 2 surgeries, and I couldn't run my business the same. I literally had to step back, but I had this safety net. So here's the thing that I learned though. During that time, I started clipping coupons. I had made my first million by the time I was 28 years old. I was clipping coupons. I was thinking about, all the things I could have done better. So now I was risk adverse. So I wasn't making any real money because I was scared to make a risk. So what I had to learn in the midst of that is, yes, you went through something that was traumatic. Yes, you had some losses, but you're not a bad person, nor are you a bad business person. I had to give myself credit for the things that I had succeeded at. I helped him build that real estate empire. I built a very successful practice. I can do it again. I can take these lessons and expand again. I don't have to constrict, because the constriction piece almost says, don't even try again. It's like, do you see how that wound up happening? It's things out there that you don't know about. So that was the part that I had to heal in order to get back to sitting in a space of feeling successful again, in order to get back and sit in a space where I had more time and all of those different things. And so that's really where that work started for me. I realized that when women go through things that are traumatic, like an illness, like a loss of a relationship that's significant, a loss of a parent, or any of these losses, rather than us thinking of our next dream, we stop watching HGTV. We literally like, look, I don't want to hear about none of that mess. Like, I had friends who were trying to talk to me about another business venture, and I'm like, nope, not doing that right now. Like, I don't. As a matter of fact, if we're gonna have lunch, do not discuss business.
So thanks for sharing your story. Also, there's some femmes that are also sharing theirs as well. So Linda, who's one of our other FemCity Global members, I know you know her. Wrong decision, paying a coach and not getting value, and then also being that risk adverse to hiring another coach. And for me, it took me many years, as you guys now know. It took me many years. I mean, I just started watching HGTV, I think, like last year. So bad. And we had made our first investment property. We made about $200,000 in 2 years. And so we had gone on this really great kick doing all the work ourselves and putting in all the, so it was not easy to get that. When you lose so much, it was like, and I love that you mentioned, by the way, your self-identity also is so connected.
Yes.
Of those, I just had an aha moment as I was listening to you, that I owned a Pilates studio that was really, really successful for almost 10 years. We lost all of our money. We had to move, and I ended up getting a full-time job. And I think that was connected to thinking to myself, I cannot take more risks. Even though I was successful in that Pilates studio, I just realized, listening to you, is that I probably went that route to limit risk, because I was just traumatized with what we had gone through.
Absolutely.
I hadn't even thought of that. So that's why we need people like you in this world.
And so what happens is you take the job because you're like, I can depend that they're going to send me a check. I know when it's going to come, even though I have to par down my living, because again, that's the constriction. At least I can manage it, right? So here's the thing, women, this is what I want you guys to know as women, forgive yourself. In our society, women are taught to par down. So when things happen, and I really don't think that they're mistakes, I really feel like they're life lessons, right? Because with every lesson that you learn, when you go back into business, you do it differently. You realize, like, hey, there's a boom, but there's also probably going to be a recession. So I don't have to like hold all the way back, but I probably should save a lot more. I probably don't need to get the biggest house that I can get right now. I probably should just live a little bit within my means, but go for the luxuries that I really desire. And just maybe I'll diversify how my money comes in and where I put it. So you get to look at it differently. Like, it's not like you lost. You only get to look at it and say, what could I have done differently? And it's funny because when you go back in and things start happening for you, it's still happening for me now. I see my old self and I'm like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, like I'm having all these aha moments because now I realize I value peace more than the material things. Like, I love money. I love what it can do. But now in business, I realize I have to do one of the things that you talked about before. I have to separate Melisa, the extravagant, love to spend, have fun person, from the business.
Yeah.
And allow them to be two different separate entities that thrive on their own in their own different way. And so that was one of my life lessons.
Yeah. And listening to you, it reminded, I was trying to think of like what life lessons I had that really shifted me. So when I closed that Pilates studio, that was really successful. So I couldn't sell it. And that to me labeled it as a failure. Yeah. Because I couldn't sell it, I had to liquidate and then just kind of give all of my students to a competitor and then just kind of wrap up and leave. And it always, Melisa would sit there in the back of my head. And maybe that's why I ended up, getting a full-time job, is that I really felt like I was such a failure when it came to being an entrepreneur. Like, what kind of failure? I had a profitable business. It was making a ton of money. It was super great. Everyone that worked there or took classes there was amazing. How could I not sell this? And interesting, when I started Fem City, I remembered all of those moments of that Pilates studio, and I said, never again. I'm going to make sure I create something that can be scalable, that other people can take over, and it would actually outlive me as legacy. So we labeled it because in my mind, if you had asked me in like 2006 if I was a successful entrepreneur, even though that was my third business, I would have been like, no, I'm a failure. I'm a total failure. And I was like you, I just didn't want to talk about business. Don't talk to me about business. Don't ask me to start. Like, I was really shell-shocked. It took me a while to believe in myself again.
Absolutely. I love the believe part. So a part of the work that I do with my clients is helping them to believe in themselves again, helping them to course correct, go back and figure out the lessons from the last thing. And then we have to clear it, because what winds up happening is we build a stack of money blocks based on our past experience. So one of your questions on where you first started, I want to make sure I address that. How do you know if you have trauma, related to your money? And you know that if you're stuck. So think about like with our weight, right? Our bodies, we have what we call a set point. So no matter what you do, you usually wind up here. You lose 20 pounds. Next thing you know, you go off the plan, you're back there. Your body has this set point that if you don't keep working past it, that will continue to be your set point. Same thing with money. So here's the thing that I found working with hundreds of women over the years, hundreds of women. We all have a set point for our finances. Even if you lose it all, you wind up getting a position or a job where you're making about the same salary because you have been conditioned to live a certain way. So we have a down set point for the least amount that we'll allow ourselves to have, right? So just imagine if you're listening to this and your account is negative right now, that's your lowest set point. If your account is sitting, I was talking to some entrepreneurs yesterday, and one had 2.3 million in savings. Like, I love her. I'm going to call her because I want her to be my best friend today. But she's a really good girlfriend. That's her set point. And it's interesting because when she talks to me, you'll think she doesn't have money. She'll be like, well, I have to do this, I have to do that. But that is her set point, the least amount that she's willing to have. And when she spends, she only spends from new money coming in. Now, the reason why I say this is because a lot of times as women, we've been conditioned, even as people, that whatever you say is the thing that resounds. So if you talk that you don't have money, you're not going to have money. No, that's not necessarily true. It really is your set point behind it, because you can have a person who thinks very glass empty and have 3 million, right? And they're like, I never have enough. And this, and still, because that's their set point. So you have a low set point, and then you have a high set point. Your high set point is usually when people really feel the most distress. High set point, low set point. You feel a lot of distress at your low because you're anxious and you want money to come in and you don't know where it's going to come in and it needs to fix an immediate problem. You feel it at your high because you're at a glass ceiling and you've been trying to get past this $300,000 every year. And it just seems like my business never makes the 350 or the 400. Why? You have a set point. You get extremely uncomfortable at the next level. So we have to work to, just like with the exercising to work to get you under, we have to do more mindset work and more creation of a new vision in order to move you past that. Because usually that's where we know you have some trauma that is holding you at that point.
That is a mic drop moment. I would say for those that are watching the replay, like rewind that and like watch it again. We're going to be posting this on Instagram too. So if you're on Instagram, rewind this and watch it again. That is amazing. I remember years, maybe decades ago, Oprah Winfrey had on someone. I can't remember who it was, but it was a guest of hers. And she was saying, when we say, if I only had so much, right, then you're only getting so much. Like, and then we spend time going from one to the other because our set point, like you just said, is only at this level. So we're only shooting for that. So things always work out because we always shoot for that same level. And that was the first time I thought, wow, that's so brilliant, because it's true. We always get by, right? Like, right. I remember at our most poor point of saying, if I only had $20 to get, peanut butter and jelly and make it through the week. You know what I mean? I only had guess what? I'd get $20.
You would.
I'd find $20 and then I had my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for, all my meals for a week. But it's whatever, but the goal, the set point is so low, and then we shoot that and we're okay, but we're always hovering in that point because that's our set point. That is brilliant.
Yeah. And so a lot of times when I meet with women, when they come to me, it's like, I'm ready to move up. I'm ready to scale. I know all the things to do, but year after year, it's like nothing is happening. So one of the things that I found is that a lot of times we get so nervous around that time and so anxious. That's when we start doing things like self-sabotage. And we don't even know we're doing it, or we slow down on what we were doing to bring things in. Or, you know what? We get bored with this business. We're going to go start another one.
That right there. That is when I hear them go, I'm going to start this. Like, no, stop having 6, 8, 10 businesses. Stop.
Yeah. So women, we have been conditioned not to have as much success as men. So, and when I say that, what I really mean by that is a man will fail over and over and over and over again. He will go borrow $500,000 from the bank, blow this business, and guess what? The next day he'll go get another $500,000. They'll give it to him. He'll then go online. He'll raise more. It won't matter. The average person literally has about 6 businesses that they go through that are unsuccessful before they get to the one that is correct, or the one that really works for them, right? So we don't give ourselves enough opportunity to fail. And if you start understanding that it's business and it's not you, you'll take more risk and you'll be okay with it. It's a business entity. That's why we set it up. If it doesn't work, you close the business entity. You start another one. And you get coaching. Somebody mentioned coaching. Literally, I'm going to tell you, I always feel like whatever you put into something is what you get out. And every once in a while, you're going to have a situation. I've had them where it was like, oh my God, I thought I was going to get this and I didn't get that. And one of the things that I realized even now in retrospect is I thought it was going to be the magic bullet. And what I realized is I'm the magic bullet. This person is just aiding me on the way. But at the end of the day, the results are mine. 100% mine. And I think that allows you to move forward and just to understand, hey, it's okay to make a mistake. We all come back from them. They're learning lessons.
Yeah. And that coaching thing. So that happened to me too. I hired someone to, it was like a PR thing, and they review everything. And it was like $3,000, $4,000. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then I get to the package and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a former publicist. I'm like, what was I like? I knew it was like, but it was good for me. I mean, I had to pick something in order for me to feel better about myself. I'm like, yeah, it was really nothing. But you know what? It reminded me that I am like you just said, I'm the bullet. Like I already know all this stuff. Even though I just paid $4,000, $3,000 for nothing. You know what? Like, at the end of the day, it reminded me of my worth. So, yeah. So Linda said hers was 20,000. Yeah.
Yes. I spent 20K this year myself.
Yeah.
But I was excited about it. It was different areas I really wanted to know about. I always feel like it's like a growing opportunity, for me, but it's personal development. At the end of the day, you're doing the work. You're very powerful women very powerful people, and we're like designed for more. It's just remembering who we are and not getting bogged down in, oh my God, this, I can't believe. I think when you own it, and when we see more women own, like, hey, I had this and I lost it or whatever, then we wind up having women who don't lose anymore. Like literally, it becomes, because I always think of these things as soulful habits. And one of my soulful habits is like, if you get a hit today, what are you going to activate tomorrow? Like, somebody comes and say, hey, Melissa, this, what are you going to activate tomorrow? Who are you going to call? What's your next move? Don't get stuck in it. It's just a part of doing business.
Yeah. So, and Linda, I'm sorry that happened to you. I know that Linda, that happened a couple years ago, and it's very raw. I'm telling you, it took me years to recover from mine. So I feel you. Hopefully it gets better and better. What's a final tip, Melissa, that you could share for someone like Linda, who in essence has money trauma from this coach that she hired years ago that I think turned out to be a little bit fraudulent.
Yeah.
I believe, I don't know if that's true, but
Yeah.
What advice would you give for someone that's trying to heal from like something like that?
So I want to share a story real quick, and I would definitely say I understand what it's like to lose money. I remember when I had my first practice, I had a bunch of therapists that I absolutely adored. We would have things at our house, very close, very similar to Fem City, right? Trips, I would give away events, so forth. Well, I had two therapists who called me one day and they said that they were leaving. And when I got a call with both of them on the phone, I knew or suspected this was not like you're leaving together. So immediately my spirit told me they're going to take your clients. And they had 50 clients. That was $125,000 in revenue like this. And I'm out here every day, like hustling to get new clients for us. When I tell you I was sick, I was sick. Over the next couple of weeks, we went through attorneys. We went through all these things. My attorney said, hey, these ladies, after you spend $30,000 with me, you're probably going to recover about $5,000 because they don't have the money. What are you going to do? And I remember that hurting me, jarring me, and literally that was a trauma that I sustained. I literally stopped wanting to grow my business at that point because I started feeling like I couldn't trust people. So one of the things that I realized from that situation is that I had to get to a space where I could bless the situation and let it go. So one of the things that I did, I remember sitting down with both of these young ladies' names, and I wished them well, like literally talked about the hurt that it caused me. But I said, I hope that this serves you better. I wish you well, because I wasn't going to spend any more money with this attorney. I was going to let this go. And, because I knew the work I had to draw. I wish you well and grow on whatever you grow. And now I'm going to take that same energy and put it back into myself and my business and move forward. That freed up like this energetic space for me, because money is energy. And I do feel like the energy that we give is also the energy that we receive. And it's amazing. Probably about 6 months later, I landed another contract for $150,000. So that's what I would say is work to let things go and keep moving. Keep moving.
Yeah. I had someone that stole from City a while ago and was stealing a lot. And I did like a meditation to release that person and just wish them well. And people were like, I can't believe you didn't go to court. And I believe, this and that. And I'm like, you know what? I just need to keep moving forward. I was still with my money trauma from the properties and
yes.
But I remember feeling that I just needed to let it go with as much goodness as I can, learn from that experience. Now I know all the numbers. Now I'm on top of all the things. So, and they've decided to cut my grass right now.
That's how that works, right?
Okay. Like right here, like right there on the other side of the window. All right. So this was great. We went over on time a little bit. Thanks so much, Melissa, for hanging out with me today and sharing your tips. How can femmes find you, learn more about the work you're doing in this world? They might want to kind of follow up with you and ask more questions.
Absolutely. You can come to me at Melisa Alaba, and I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You are so welcome. Thank you, Linda. To all of you guys, I'm so glad that you join me. And I definitely want to say you can free yourself up to earn more money and have fun with it.
There you go. Have fun with it. That's one of my spiritual advisors told me a couple of years ago. Have fun with it. The more fun you can have, the more people see you doing that, the more your money goes up. So
yes.
Thank you so much. For some reason now the lawnmowers are coming in closer. I'm like, I don't know how much closer they're going to get. Maybe they'll jump in the window. Thank you so much for joining us. And femmes that are watching, let us know how these tips helped you. Feel free to reach out to Melisa. She's here to help you. And we wish you a great week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.